How is going now, guys? Talk Norwich City here, back with the breaking news that Norwich City have released 7 players. Yes, 7 players. We've decided not to renew the contracts of John Ruddy, Sebastian Basong, Stephen Whittaker, Ryan Bennett, Yusuf Malumbu, Michael Turner, and Kyle Lafferty. A lot of them names, I'm sure a lot of you guys were expecting not to have their contracts renewed. I suppose the more notable name is John Ruddy. Made over 200 appearances. I think it's 242 appearances for Norwich City. Played with us throughout the Championship, the Premier League. Got us back promoted to the Premier League. He's been an absolute kind of stalwart name in Norwich City colours. And I suspect he'll go down by a lot of people as a legend. You know, guided us to 2 promotions. Got his England cap with Norwich City. Linked with Chelsea, Arsenal. On the peak of his game, he was one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League in like 2012 kind of time. Unfortunately, it all kind of went a little bit downhill when he ripped his groin at Everton away, and he was never quite the same goalkeeper. Again, this season, his form hasn't been that great. But yeah, I mean, it's ruthless from Norwich, and that's what we want to see, isn't it? We want to see a ruthlessness. Them 7 players combined frees up a hell of a lot of wage budget. The likes of Yusuf Malumbu would have been on big money. The likes of Kyle Lafferty, Sebastian Basong, even John Ruddy, and a lot of people are disappointed to see John Ruddy go. The way I'm looking at this is this: John Ruddy's 30 years old. He's not getting any younger. He's past his prime. I don't think he's ever going to be as good as he once was. He was on a lot of money. I'm sure his contract, when we renewed it back when, you know, Chelsea were in for him and a few other Premier League teams, he would have been on big money from there. And we just kind of need to freshen things up a bit. I think there's a very fine line between keeping players who know the club very well and bringing new faces in. I suppose now the only real figure who's been at Norwich for a long while, you've got Russ Martin, Johnny Howson. There's a few other names, but except for that, a lot of these players have only been here now for 1-2 seasons. But on the whole, I think that's a very positive piece of news. The likes of Sebastian Basong, Michael Turner, Kyle Lafferty, Malumbu weren't even getting anywhere near the team. Ryan Bennett, yeah, he's been getting in the team, but he certainly hasn't been great. Stephen Whittaker was aging, and he's never been that much of a great player. And then John Ruddy obviously played most games for Norwich City this season. Was dropped for Declan Rudd last year and Michael McGovern this year through patches, and they haven't really done it. But I think it's more of just getting him off the wage bill and trying to bring new players in. There's also had 2 players had their contracts renewed in terms of activating that option that a lot of players have on their contract of giving them another year. Them 2 players being Harry Toffolo and Declan Rudd. Now, Harry Toffolo has, of course, been out on loan this season at Scunthorpe, where he's done okay, nothing to shout home about. And Declan Rudd, who's been on loan at Charlton and once again has done okay, but nothing to shout home about. Look, I don't think Declan Rudd's going to be our first team goalkeeper next season. I also don't think Michael McGovern's going to be our first team goalkeeper this season. I probably think we're going to buy someone in now, and I hope so, because I don't think Declan Rudd or Michael McGovern are necessarily good enough to play at Championship level week in, week out. In terms of Harry Toffolo, I think that's a good bit of news. I've always rated Toffolo throughout that FA Youth Cup winning campaign. Had a few good loan spells at Swindon, this year Scunthorpe, and I think now it's a bit like the Murphys this season. It's going to be make or break for him next season. We've given him that year. If he impresses, he could become our left back for the next 5-10 years. If he doesn't, then it's probably going to be a transfer out of the club for him. But I'm fairly pleased that Toffolo's got a new contract. I'm a bit like meh about Declan Rudd. I don't think he's going to be our first team goalkeeper, as I've said, and I hope he isn't. Stuart Webber said, "We'd like to place on record our sincere thanks to all of the players who are moving on for their contribution to the club and wish them all the very best in the next chapter of their careers." Look, Stuart Webber's come in, he's talked the talk, and now he's starting to walk the walk as well. He's sacked off a lot of the old staff in terms of the recruitment people. We've now got rid of 7 players. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more going out. He mentioned between 12 and 15 players, so that's kind of half of the amount gone. In terms of now, we now need to negotiate prices for the players who we want to get rid of that are still on contracts. But I think this is a very positive start. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Let me know down in the comment section below. there's a few real senior players, I suppose, that's been left. I think I saw a stat earlier that them 7 players combined had played over 700 games of football for Norwich City. The likes of John Ruddy, Basong, Whittaker, Bennett, Turner, they've all been here for like 4 years plus. So that's a fair few appearances, but we just need fresh blood in now. And were Basong, Whittaker, Bennett, Malumbu, Lafferty, Turner and Ruddy going to be the people to hopefully reignite that flame inside of us and go up next season? No, they probably weren't. And from that, I'm fairly happy with that news. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Good podcast going up tomorrow, by the way. Check that out. Thanks very much for watching, and see you later.